Ah, midges are biting like mad. Go away. Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. Today I'm on the shores of Thirlmere in the Lake District National Park in Cumbria in England. And today I'm going to explore one of the many watercourses that cascade down the fells around Thirlmere and into the lake itself. And as I do so, I'm going to share with you some of the techniques that I use to try and capture what this particular piece of water, flowing piece of water, actually says to me. And I mean, it's only 25, 30 meters long, no more than that. But every body of water has a character to it, a nature to it. And as you're all very aware, capturing the essence of a place, or at least my reaction to the essence of a place, is what drives my photography. So as I explain the techniques that I'm using just to capture this piece, this body of water, I'll try and explain to you why is it that I'm doing what I'm doing, and why does that lend itself to adding to the character, or capturing the character of that particular body of water. There is only one piece of equipment that I would recommend, and that's obviously a camera and a lens, but a polarizer. I'm going to show you two images in a second. One is without a polarizer, one is with a polarizer. So without first and then with second. The second image, you can see that the glare that was on the rock in the first image has been removed completely. And the polarizer will do exactly the same for glare coming off water. It will increase the contrast in an image as well. But with regard to playing with water, it's mainly reflections off rocks that I use it for. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Just one note before we get going. Just bear in mind for a minute that every body of flowing water is different. So what you're going to see and what I'm going to capture is based on what's available. And just bear that in mind. To try and apply exactly the same techniques to any body of water, flowing body of water, is probably unrealistic. But hopefully by explaining what I'm doing and why I'm doing, you'll understand why I'm doing it here. Right, let's go. So keep an eye out for those small details, like this piece of rock that's got water moving under pressure against it. In fact, there's even a couple of leaves stuck against the pressure of the water. Sometimes items like this can say as much, if not more, about a watercourse than the wider image could ever. What this shows me is the force of the water, so therefore the volume of the water, but also the nature of the base, the rocks, and perhaps even a clue as to the landscape all around it. So yeah, keep an eye out for things like this, because they are, once you spot them, they are beautiful, and can be quite a challenge to photograph as well. So here's a compositional trick using shapes in order to get across an idea of dynamism or activity. And in this particular scene, it's a Z shape. So the water is coming down in a Z shape here, and in fact you've got almost the triangle here. There's another arm to the Z going off down there. There's where's my finger? There's a Z shape, V shape here as well, all of which add to a sense of dynamism, activity, energy, call it what you will. But that translates very easily to what I can hear with my ears, the noise of fast moving water and the bubbles and the gurgles that it creates. Shutter speed is quite important. It's a bit of a Marmite subject to have just blurry water. I prefer something in between, if I'm being perfectly honest, so where you can see some of the detail in the water but still get the impression of movement. Don't ignore pools of foam like this, which occasionally will stagnate along the edges of rivers and streams. Using long exposures, they can create some very, very creative images. So, you know, this piece down here sort of almost looks like tiger pattern. Over here you've got what looks like the early startings of a swirl, and then just move around the tripod, you've got even more of a swirl taking place right there. Choice of shutter speed is quite crucial here. You need just enough to create a hint of motion, but not too much. Again though, a bit like long exposures, it's a Marmite subject, and just do what you think is right and what works for you. They can be very entertaining and very satisfying, and can also occupy you for ages and ages, but well worth it though. See, here's another compositional trick. Most pictures, at least a good number of pictures, are taken in the normal landscape format with the long edge horizontal. However, it's easy to say for this subject because it sort of lends itself to being the other way around, but sometimes it takes a little bit of thought to tilt the camera around and actually use the portrait orientation. Now, it is written and said that the landscape format tends to be calmer, quieter than the portrait format. So the portrait format is where the long edge is vertical as opposed to landscape where it's horizontal. So take a look at these two images which are of the same scene. First one's taken in landscape orientation, and then the second one is taken in portrait orientation. Again, exactly the same scene, but I hope you can see that the portrait orientation is much more energetic, much more lively, and in fact it gives that central piece of water that's falling a lot more presence in the frame. And the reason why I like to use this is I can hear that water, I can hear it splashing, I can hear the bubbles being created as it hits the surface of the water. So I want it to be the main actor in my image. Choosing a portrait orientation for this particular scene not only adds to the lively nature of what I can actually see, but also because it makes it appear larger in the frame, hopefully some of that noise comes through as well, and helps the viewer to understand what it really felt like to sit here and watch that scene for real. If you are enjoying this video and would like to support my channel, then please click on the thumbs up icon indicated here. To be notified when I upload new content, which will be every 2 weeks, then please consider subscribing. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. As well as subscribing, click on the bell icon and select all in order to get these notifications. All updates for new videos appear here on the top right hand side of your YouTube homepage. So I would entitle this one Shower Curtain. Again, it's driven by noise, the noise that I can hear the water making, but also I think it's a characteristic of these falls on this watercourse where I am right now. There are quite a few of these areas where the surface of the rock is quite flat, but the water volume is sufficient to sort of create this forceful cascade. And I can't zoom in on this camera, but I'm referring to this piece here, which when it's captured to all intents and purposes looks like a curtain of water, but it's quite fitting because well, it is a curtain of water, but the noise of it hitting the pool that's underneath it, I can hear it rushing over the top. You can see where it's splashing against this rock here. All my senses and my eyes and my ears especially are being assaulted by all of that. So to fill the frame with that and just make that a subject all on its own right just feels right. And again, it sums up the character of this particular watercourse. Shutter speeds and moving water are they're a difficult subject, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. It comes down to personal taste, I think, at the end of the day. For me, it's a mixture of personal taste and also choosing a range of water movement that's appropriate for the story that I'm trying to tell. So if we take a look at that scene down there where we've got water moving maybe not quite as fast as you know, over some falls, so I'll just turn the lens that way. You can see it's cascading over some falls, so it's not moving anywhere near as fast as that. So to retain something of the shapes that are being created in the water seems right. If it was all just milky or very blurry, then that would indicate that it's running very quickly, which of course it isn't. So at the minute I'm going to take a sequence of 3 pictures. I'm all framed up and ready to go. The scene is very similar to what you can see on the video camera. I'm just checking the polarizer. Right, so I'm starting off at 1 second, and then, whoops, I changed my focus points, that was a bit silly. And then I'm going to halve it and do roughly half a second, and I'm going to halve it again and do around about a 15th of a second. Now it's all a matter of taste, but I actually think maybe the one in the middle is the one that works. The one that was around about half a second actually gives a hint and a range of motion in the water, but retains some of the detail. The first image, it's just moving too fast. It looks like it's rushing like mad. So my advice with shutter speeds is to have a play on a body of water where maybe it doesn't matter so much with the images that you create, and you know, keep a reference, stick it on your phone or something like that with regard to what sorts of shutter speeds work for you in certain situations. So I've reached the top of the watercourse now, right next door to the road, so I'm not going to go any farther because I don't particularly want to go scrabble under the bridge and risk life and limb. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been useful, informative. If anything, I hope it's just given you some ideas, some things to try yourself next time you're out near a body of water or a body of moving water. So until the next one, thank you very much. Stay safe, stay well, and enjoy your photography. Cheerio for now. Take care.